Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News.
Our next guest, Gideon Okeke, first came into limelight through the 2006 Big Brother Nigeria reality show. Since then, he has grown to be an actor whose talent spans through theater, television, and film. He'll be telling us about his journey from reality star to actor, the challenges faced in Nollywood, and more. Good morning, Mr. Okeke. Welcome to the morning show.
Gideon,
thank
welcome.
you very much
First,
for having me.
Let me congratulate you on your recent award.
Oh, thank you, sir.
The best actor in a supporting role.
Thank you, sir.
At the Africa Movie Academy Awards in Kigali.
Yes, sir.
Now, how do you feel? I mean, 12 years later, you know, you have these awards, you have this recognition. How does it feel to be named best actor?
Well, I must say you've checked me out. Yes, it's been 12 years. For all of my fans, my friends and family, they all say it's a long time coming. But I say, I mean, I had to work the mill to get to this point. And I really feel honored, humbled as well, and most particularly to have won for the film Crossroads, because I have a sentimental attachment to the film, as well as the director.
Well, tell us about the AMMA, first of all, because I know that it's a different kind of award, and it's, you know, it's more like the Oscars, is it?
Yeah, you know, like you can liken it to the Oscars in the sense that it is, the appraisal is jury-based. You know, so it's industry, it's more or less your industry colleagues or senior colleagues who come together in a jury system to appraise the work that we have done in film. It's slightly different from other award systems where it's viewer's choice or open to the public, but this is practitioner-based.
And
before the award,
right?
you got the award, I mean, I think a day before,
right,
you were quoted as saying there's no such thing as best actor. Did you say that because you didn't expect to win?
I've been saying that from 2006 before I professionally came into the business. Because if I come from, I subscribe to the school of thought that if movies or art is inspiration from life, there has never been anybody whose capstone at their funeral reads, "Here lies Mr. X. He was known to have lived it up the most." Why then do you say this guy is the best actor? The most beautiful woman in the world is the one who came out to contest. There's a more beautiful woman in ABBA, but she just didn't make it coming out to contest, or she just didn't get the information. Denzel could be named the best actor in the world, but trust me, there's a guy in Zungeru who just didn't show up that day. You know, so I like to say that when we cap it, best actor or best supporting actor, is more or less like saying thank you for compressing the size of your prowess into this 90 minutes of film time or 120 minutes of film time. So it's like a gift.
So what does the award, what does it mean to you? What does
it means a lot to me. It means, I mean, it references all those moments where I've second-guessed myself, where I've almost tapped out, thrown in the towel, you know, for people whose shoulders I stand on, people like RMD. I like to say about him, thank you, RMD, for coming back from politics.
He was in the film, right?
Yeah,
well,
he also won Best Actor.
You won Best
I was Best Supporting.
Actor.
He won Best Actor. So it's like, it's a very strong indication that this film squeezes out all the juices, you know what I mean? So I like to say about a guy like RMD, thank you for coming back from politics, because you gave us a strong cursor to note that if a guy like you hasn't quit or is still going on regardless of whatever challenges there might be, then people like me can have a dream, you know?
What kind of actor would you consider yourself?
I'm a tool for humanity. I'm a muse. You know, if film is not about people, if it's not about humanity, you know, even Charlie Chaplin made stuff, Charlie Chaplin's efforts were all about humanity. He made you think. Film should make us think. It should make us reassess or reevaluate our humanity. Or, you know, in film, you have that privilege to pause real life, reprocess it, and do whatever you want, and then still press play.
You also do theater,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Did you study theater?
Well, I didn't do the traditional thing of doing theater arts or stuff, you know. But I studied at the Lee Strasberg Theater and Film Institute, New York. Okay. which has a theater department, a film department. So I did all of that in my acting training in 2011.
And you also sing.
I sing, yes, sir.
I saw you, online singing one of Fela's numbers.
Love Fela. Always loved Fela.
Really?
Always loved that.
Tell us
what
about
do you
that
love about him?
experience.
Oh, his personality, his ideology, even if somewhere along the way he got caught up with his own ideology, but the person of Fela and what Fela stands for. In a day like today, I like to say, hashtag, if to say Fela day, waiting Fela for talk. Imagine that face mask. Imagine we all wore that face mask and became Fela for a moment, waiting you for talk, if to say Fela they talk through you. Fela is such a man, such a, such an inspiration to everything in the arts today.
Well, I'm going to put you to task because when I saw that video,
don't do it, sir.
You should always
it's a very simple thing. It's nothing beyond
when you have an interview.
It's nothing beyond you. That song I saw is something about Ekuni Baba Kuba. I don't sing. You want to sing that for us? I think that was marvelous. But you see, you've also been involved in controversies. There was this actor, Chinwe Talo. Now you are accused of insulting. Have you guys made up?
I'm actually in a film with him, though we have never crossed paths.
Okay.
My growls, my uncle called me and said that was very vitriolic of me to, put out that kind of information, and I cringed momentarily. But what drove me there was a certain day I'm in the restaurant watching a movie with my mom. I'm on a date with my mom, and gentleman comes on the screen, and all we heard was cack. Most of what we heard was cack. So it made me think that most of what you see on screen is inspired by improv. Not everything is in the script. Most of what you see in film, in Nollywood particularly, is inspired by improv. So it made me think, if you called up a rapper and say, throw me 16 bars of freestyle, he is going to lean to his creative side, not necessarily leaning to the left side that bears profanities. So if you are doing your work based on improv, I don't see why you should lean to that left side of profanities to express your work. That's where I was coming from.
Yeah,
I had nothing against the...
but it isn't, something that is unique about his own style.
It's
considering
unique.
that it's very famous.
It's unique.
And it represents a character type.
It does,
when he adopts that style.
It does, sir. And the people love him for it. I do as well. I'm a fan. But my point is, people are watching. I was watching that day, and my mom was watching, and she cringed when she heard what she heard on screen. And she looked at me and like, what example do you want to be? What example are we being with our mediums of expression or our chosen vocabulary of expression?
So when eventually you come face to face with Chiwental,
I would dobale to the ground. And it's not saying that I swallow my words, but I would dobale to the ground. He's a very square, strong shoulders that I have stood on, to get here. I will still dobale regardless, but my point is still my point. People are watching. What are you saying with your message?
Good. Well, let me ask you a personal question. Now, you once said you had a crush on Genevieve.
Don't or didn't we all?
Now, where are we now? Now that you have done the carrying of wine.
Genevieve at some point had strong competition, and it's been totally annihilated now. I have a serious love interest in my life. My wife is watching right now.
So when is the wedding?
It's a few weeks from now.
Okay.
Actually, it's a few weeks from now.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, baby.
But I hope you won't do it quietly. You invite the whole town, I guess.
Well, yeah, of course.
Because the wine carrying, you didn't make too much noise about that.
Exactly. That's the world we live in these days. So I go privately with my family to engage her family and say, hey, I have interest in your daughter. And whilst I'm kneeling there, everybody pops their phones and boom, it goes live, right? And the information is this guy has codedly gone to do a traditional wedding. That was just the pre-event. The main thing is coming, you know.
I like your answer. You say you don't have a crush on any other woman.
No.
You played safe. You played safe.
All right, let's go back to theater. All right, with the musical Sorrow. How did that happen? I mean, are you a musician, or you know, did you have to train your voice?
Train my voice. Well,
how did that come about? I just want to know from the beginning to.
Right. Well, I started acting when I was age 6,
Right.
and at that age as well, I found my singing voice. So it's been a little confusion. Where do you want to go first? You know, but I tended to the acting first. So one day I was sitting in this position as you are now, hosting an educational series show for Discovery Channel. I was the host on the show, and Madame Bolanle Austin Peters was my guest that day. So in the makeup room, they were doing my makeup, doing last looks, and I was humming and singing to myself.
Okay.
We were both doing our makeup, and she looks over across and says, "You sing, Gideon?" And I say, "Yes, ma'am, I'm singing." She said, "You like to play in theater?" I'm like, "Forever." She says, "All right, cool. That's your admission right there." And that was right there was my audition.
Just a simple hum.
Just right there, I was just humming and singing to myself, doing makeup, and she said, "Would you like to do Sarah?" I'm like, "Hell yeah." And you know.
And what's happening to the musical right now? Because I know that it was a traveling musical
Yeah,
as well.
Sarah traveled for a bit. Also did the Shaw Theatre in London. It was a great experience for me, playing in London for the first time. Great experience. I couldn't make the show Fela, Kalakuta Queens, because schedules and all that stuff.
But where you
Yeah,
were,
but I rehearsed with them, rehearsed with them, but scheduling issues just couldn't make it possible. But Madame Bolanle Austin Peters is a huge inspiration in my life, in my career.
There you are on screen.
is that you?
Oh, am I? Oh, there.
That is the Eko Nibagba Kuba.
Yes.
I mean, and this is you're playing. Talk to us about this musical. What is it about?
Okay,
For
this
people
is
that don't really know about it.
this is for a closing event of a film festival.
Well, the actual musical. What message is it portraying? What message is it telling?
Oh, okay. It's titled Fela Arrest the Music. It encompasses all the struggles that Fela went through in relation to the theme of every music, relating to what he was going through at every moment.
Oh, you are so in love with Fela. He is a huge Fela fan.
I think after this, a lot of people thought I could act.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I've been doing it for 10 years on Tinsel, and maybe, I don't know
The
what.
first thing I checked was whether you had pockets in your trousers.
In my exactly.
You know, that was the first thing I looked out for. Because if you had pockets, then that would not have been Fela.
That was wrong, because I never had pockets. Yeah.
But there are talks about the Fela film, and I think that you were mentioned to play Fela.
Yeah, at some point. Steve McQueen, who had done 12 Years a Slave, came to town, went to Abeokuta with a few people to Reki at the time. But whilst we were doing that pre-production, I think 12 Years a Slave landed on his lap, and in consideration, it probably was a bigger story for him to tell. But in 2014, the film Fela was going to be made. I was you know, myself and Dibanj. We're being considered for it. Dibanj was really busy at the time, still is. Maybe I was just available at the time, but I still hope and wish that that film will still be made. Even if I don't play Fela, I just want to be the guy who does that, you know, hands to Fela, you know what I mean?
Anyway, let's go from the personal to the general. What do you consider to be the big challenges in the creative industry in Nigeria?
You see, our issues have evolved every day as the world changes, as the world evolves. Yesterday used to be piracy. The problems used to be piracy, but now you see nobody's making content going to DVD anymore. You know, we can view everything we want on our phones now. I think the problem has now shifted to audience apathy.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. A lot of people say, give the audience what they want. A lot of other people say the audience love comedy. I pause to ask, when did the audience tell you that? I pause to ask, it is all jokes with comedy until we stop laughing and have to come back and face the realities of our day. Film is meant to make you stop, pause, think, and change something. We will only laugh for as long as the joke, holds. But, film is to effect. Comedy is a placebo. It has a placebo effect. But film is eternal. Its effect is eternal, So I like to say that film should carry a message to change something. Or yeah.
But when you say piracy is no longer the problem,
yeah,
that audience apathy is.
Yeah.
And when persons come on this program and they've said, look, piracy is still the biggest issue.
It is still the problem. It is still a problem globally. But if you would agree with me that in the past 5 years, that narrative has changed globally. There is Netflix now. Nobody's crying, hey, one Alaba guy put my thing on DVD. Because you can sell direct to Netflix now. You can sell direct to Mr. Oreko TV. You can sell multi-choice DSTV does video on demand now.
So you don't think it poses a threat right now any longer in Nigeria?
It's reduced.
It's reduced.
How about the technical
maybe
quality?
Excuse me. Maybe for mainstream Nollywood, and it's mind-boggling how Nollywood is sectionalized. We talk about mainstream Nollywood. We talk about African cinema. Some people like to say new Nigerian cinema. Whatever it is, we're all storytellers. It's just what medium do we use to communicate and distribute our work.
How about the technical quality of the films coming out of Nigeria? How do you rate that? Because some people still say, look, these things are just put together, in a hurry, and that we should be at a level where we should be deepening, not just content, but also the technical quality.
It goes back to that sectionalization I talk about again. Mainstream Nollywood, mainstream home video productions might be the ones accused of making films or telling stories in a hurry. But films,
that's what put us in the map.
That's what put us on the map globally. You know what I mean? But we are evolving to cinema. A lot of movies have made cinema box offices that have put our names on the map. You give you an example with AY's film. Give you an example with Moabudu's film, Wedding Party. Genevieve's film right now, which is on Netflix. Biola Alabi's film, which is 93 Days, which I was on. So, that's why I say, if I saw Chiweta Lago today, I'll dobale. It's the shoulders we stand on, regardless. I'm just saying, what message are you trying to put out? We have to give credit to what mainstream Nollywood has inspired us to become now in relation to where we're going.
You must have worked with many directors. Who is your favorite director?
Well, I've made...
The director that brings out the best in you.
The best in me? I have made 15 films now in 12 years. So it's more like I average one and a half a year. First right of mention, Mr. Shei Shiwoku, Jungle Filmworks. That man has changed my career and my life in many ways. Mr. Femi Odugbemi.
Yeah, Femi, yeah.
Boss. And my friend and my brother, Walter Taylor. Those three people.
What is special about each one?
What's special about each one? And also Andy Amadi Okorafo.
I was thinking my ears don't work anymore, or did I not hear you mention
What is special about
Andy?
each director?
You see, in time, when you watch foreign films, when you watch prolific directors, you watch 2 or 3 of their films, you can see a continuity. You can see a style, you can identify cinematic language or a sense of identity by each of these directors. Nigerian directors are tending towards that gradually. The more prolific they get, the more they confirm or establish that identity, which the audience also identifies with and grapples with. These guys have made film that you can watch a film and say, Uncle Femi don't come again. It's because of what he sold the last time. this Walter boy, you don't do him again. Ah, Spike Lee has come again. It's because of what he showed you last time. And he has continued that process.
The distinctive style.
You're as good as your last
These
one,
guys
always.
have
Same.
shown me style, and I've learned a lot being an actor, being a director, a filmmaker from these people.
Okay.
There are many young boys, young men out there who want to be like Gideon Okeke and who would like to also achieve as much, who admire you. What will you be saying to those young actors and maybe also actresses? Yeah?
It doesn't matter whether you want to be an actor or whatever you want to be. Anything. Find what you love to do. Get some information in it. Google is your best friend.
This
Google
notorious Google.
Find what you love to do. Get some education in it. There are short courses in everything.
Yeah.
Get some education.
Okay, so you just said that you've made 15 films. I mean, a lot of other actors, I'm sure, have made much more because they just pick and choose whatever film they want to make or act in. What do you look for when you want to do a film? What do you look for in a script, maybe, when you want to select a film?
Before I get to the character, what is the entire picture trying to communicate? And who is the target audience? Who is it talking to? What issue in the world is it trying to change? How is it trying to change the world? And then when we get to the character, I like to say the character-actor relationship is like a tenancy agreement between a tenant and a new, between a landlord and a new tenant. Before the character comes into my vessel, I'm going to question you. Why are you the way you are? Because this is not me. When you judge the character, you can play him, But before I allow you admission into my vessel, I'm going to question myself first. Why do I want to wear your toga?
So you are the landlord, right?
I am the landlord.
Yeah.
I allow admission into the script is the tenancy agreement.
Yes.
So I'm going to critically assess myself, assess the character before I say yes, and then I look at the money.
And then the money.
At some point, then you look at the money. But most importantly is who is the filmmaker who's trying to take me on this journey? He must have been somewhere that I haven't been. If we go back and reiterate the names I have called and check out their profiles, they have been places that I aspire to go. And making film with them is just my easy ticket to going wherever I want to go through those films.
But when you talk about money, how much are we talking about?
Oh my God.
How much are we talking about?
Yes.
Oh, these days, the money is going up. Thank goodness.
How
No,
much?
you
Baba,
directly
leave that one.
Okay, so how much do you make? That's what you said.
Baba, leave that one.
All right, what's your next project? What are you
Next
working on
project.
now?
Right now, I'm about completing a project titled Nigerian Trade.
Okay.
It is about it's a film based on true life events about something that has happened in Nigeria. I'm not trying to reveal so much about it. I've also completed a project in Japan titled 20-Pound Dreams. If our audience know what the significance of 20 pounds to the average Southeasterner, you start to draw.
Yes.
You start to draw some
The
backstory.
connection with the Civil War.
There
right?
you go. There you go. So 20-Pound Dreams I have just completed. Nigerian Trade I'm about finishing. I'm also working on a short documentary and setting up some business.
So besides acting, what else do you do? Is it just you're just a musician?
Isn't he busy enough?
No,
What he
I mean
does?
a lot of people do different things. I'm sure.
Well, I'm also trying to. I'm also trying to create solutions within my little world.
Okay.
Between my film community, I have recently just set up a business, a catering and craft service business that services catering and craft service. Yes.
Okay.
It services film and television productions. I would love to gate crash this studio one day and supply catering and craft services for free, courtesy of Set Life Catering and Craft Services.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, thank you, Gideon.
You heard it here. You heard it here.
I wish we could go on and on and
Right.
on for the rest of the day. It's been really
Thank you for
engaging
having me.
having this conversation.
Thank you, sir. I'll come back again if you call.
Yes, certainly.
hope
I'm
to
glad
have
to
you
have
back.
you.
Nice
Yes.
Thank you, and good luck at your traditional wedding.
Thank
coming
you.
up.
No, it's a new wedding now.
You'll try.
No,
That's what I said on social media. They took that just small event and blew it up.
It became a big
You know,
event.
so this is part 2 of 3.
Well, you know, this is what we do in Africa. We marry our wives again and again, and each marriage is valid. You have to marry one woman 3-4 times.
I hear you, Dr. Abasi. Thank you, Gideon.
Thanks, Gideon.
It's time now for a short break on the morning show. When we return, Arise News analyst Emmanuel Ifeni will join us to review some of the top stories on today's newspapers. Stay with us.